And we are live, testing out some more studio stuff today. Hello, world. Hello, audience. It's Jeff Pilkington, Launch Radio. It's a little darker here today, and I've been messing with the lighting and the sound, and I think the studio is coming together here. I think it's looking nice. Um, but I wanted to jump on here because it'll probably be another short one today. My dog is confused right now because there's a studio set up in the middle of the living room, and she's never seen anything like that before. So she's on the other side of this wall, quite puzzled. If you're listening, there's a giant wall behind me. Anyway, I'll just keep this short again today because I'm still in the setting up process, so I'm mostly doing these for testing and seeing how things look and deciding from there. I have various people that I get to help me set it up, and they're all wonderful. Um, but the first thing I was going to say is I just wanted to talk about this journalism thing for a second. We all love journalism. Um, and I just saw a tweet, because Twitter has become like it's like the place where people get a lot of media and they get a lot of I'll be moving things around a little bit because I'm testing. Um, it's a place where people go for news. It's always been the news app. Now he runs it. And so there's a lot of people jumping on there saying that they're independent journalists. I've now been posting news for about 4 years. Was it 2019? 2018? Maybe 5 years. I've been posting news almost every single day. I took a couple months off at a couple different times, but mostly every single day. And it's a lot of work for not a lot of money. And it's really you really see when you're on your own doing that, you really get to form your own opinions. And I think that people a trust grows for you because they know you're being honest. And the one thing about me is I'm always going to be honest about where I am on everything. And I feel like that's just so important. And working for a big media company or even local journalism, there's certain rules and things I mean, you have to follow. There's certain guidelines and such you have to follow under the umbrella of the big media corporation, and that's great. But journalists and reporters also should be able to say how they feel about things, what their thoughts are on things, etc. I see this Trump town hall, and then there were some anchors or various people in the media pushing back on it, and they should be able to do that. That's fine. Like, people can say what they want. Like, I just people should be able to have an opinion, and that's the first thing. And the second thing is, so I saw this tweet, I guess it's from a couple weeks ago, from Elon. It says the goal is to make this platform maximum truth seeking, or said another way, the least untrue compared to everything else. What? Okay. Well, okay. The first thing about that, the first thing I'll say about that is truth is, in my opinion, very subjective because people have different versions of the truth based on their own perception. Okay, when you look at that thing with the dress where it can be a different color, or you listen to Yanni or Laurel and hear something different, the truth is different. If I'm standing on one side of the number 6 and you're standing on the other side of the number 6, to you it looks like a 9. So your truth is it's 9 and mine is it's a sixth 6. So when he says truth, he's only talking about what he thinks is the truth, and he can't admit that. I mean, maybe he can, but I haven't seen him admit is like talk about that. He's very set on his opinions, and not you have to be open minded, like to do this. You have to try to understand what people are getting at, even if you disagree with them. Somebody in his position, and I said this 2 podcasts ago, it's important that you try to understand that. Try to understand where someone's coming from. And if he's just running Tesla and SpaceX, it would be a different thing. But because he's running Twitter, I feel in that role it's important. And so I'm often critical of him. And so you see these, back to independent journalism. So I don't totally agree with that, or because he's not understanding that his truth is different than somebody else's truth. It's just like not, it's not a high level of thought as far as political psychology. I mean, I get that he's a brilliant scientist and engineer, and yes, I think that he is. Okay, just because, in my opinion, he hasn't been doing great with Twitter, it doesn't mean he's suddenly bad at everything else. Okay, it doesn't mean he's suddenly bad at everything else. There's my dog. Nelly, hang on 1 second. And so, um, getting back to independent journalism, I feel that my dog. I'm only going to be able to go a few more minutes. As far as independent journalism, I feel that the best, and I've said this on Twitter a lot, the best journalists and reporters, it's not like like too many people go after what the truth is, or what they think is the truth, and using what they know, and just going hard after the truth. Great journalism, in my opinion, the kind of irony of it is that great journalism is actually knowing that you don't know. And a lot of people really don't quite understand what I'm saying when I say that. And like, the key is not knowing. That's everything. If you know that you don't know, like, you can be the best journalist reporter in the world. Period. Just by knowing in everything that you approach, know you don't know. It's like an ultimate place of like being humble and coming from a place of wanting to like listen and understand and try to understand things you don't know about. Um, so everybody on Twitter tries to know everything or tries to flaunt their knowledge about everything. And when I say that knowing that you don't know, that doesn't mean you can't have opinions and that you shouldn't have opinions. But at the end of the day, your opinions are your opinions. I mean, I believe certain things. I have opinions about things. It doesn't mean I'm right. I mean, I have no idea if I'm right about anything. How in the hell would I know anything? I just go based on what I see here in the little studio here in Hollywood. And if people agree with it, great. If they don't, great. But at the end of the day, everybody's guessing. And if you know that, it's easier to suddenly you're free. So it's not seeking this truth. I mean, Trump titled his social network that. They like to use this truth thing. No, it's not really about that. It's more understanding that you don't know the truth. Like, come from that place. And that doesn't mean that you walk around saying that. You just know in your opinions that they're your opinions. You might be wrong. I have sharp opinions about a heck of a lot of stuff. People who follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, like, I say a lot of things. But that doesn't mean that I'm right. I'm wrong all the time. I mean, people are wrong. Major League Baseball players, when they go to bat, they only get a hit. The great hitters only hit it 3 out of 10 times. You're gonna be wrong a lot. Okay, you're gonna be wrong a lot. So you might as well accept that you don't know it all, and then just try to get as much right as you can, because you're gonna be wrong probably more than you're right. I mean, that's just the fact. And when you realize that, you know what you do? You just keep swinging. Who was it? Was it Hank Aaron that said that? You just keep taking the at bats. Every tweet is an at bat, and some you'll get right, some you'll get wrong. But the important thing is to keep going in the consistency. So that's my opinion on journalism. Now, here's the other thing too. Musk has this. My dog's doing. I think she's okay. We're doing it with Nelly here. Sometime I'll bring her on here. Musk has this community notes, Okay. Now, here's the problem with that. You giving the voice to all these independents and everything, like myself. Um, but when you have like 10,000 independents all saying something, and everybody says something different, you kind of lose the your eye kind of is no longer on the ball. You've kind of lost the what is it? Lost the story. You've lost the direction you were going with things, because then everybody has an opinion and you don't know what's right because there's too many. So there has to be some sort of guidance with stuff. There has to be some sort of guidance, you know, um, because um, some people, some of it's going to be right and some of it's going to be wrong. And what happens is the bias influences different opinions, and then that becomes those people's truth. But it doesn't mean that they're right, you know. And so when you have all these things now, a lot of liberals in the left have gotten off of Twitter, and I would guess many, if not most, don't even participate in community notes. I think it's a very small percentage. So if you're on the right and you're walking around on Twitter saying, "Man, these community notes are great. Like he's got it right. Like look, everything's right. Like the truth. Like look, it's truth. We got it. We got it." That is such a low level of thinking. Okay, that is just so you're not even seeing half of the country or more isn't even participating. Is hardly participating in community notes. They are a little bit, but most of it is coming from your beliefs. So if it's coming from your beliefs, that doesn't mean that you're right. I mean, like Musk, if you take a bunch of Republicans in a room, and you say, "Okay, everybody say your opinion on this," and everybody says their opinion, and then you say, "Well, I guess that's it. Have a good night. Goodbye." You know, like that's kind of what Musk is doing. Like I don't even think ugh, you know. I mean, Republican. My dad's a Republican. You know, like I grew up. We had MICDS and boroughs. We had rival high schools. Mine was the liberal high school. My brother and sisters was the conservative high school. Like I grew up around all of this. Okay, so I've been through. I went to a conservative college, and then I worked at CAA, which is the bastion of liberalism in LA. I mean, I like literally, everywhere on both sides. And if you're narrow thinking, if you think that everything that your side is doing, what your side is doing is right, and the other side is wrong, I've got some news for you. You need to get a little bit more open minded. Okay? You need to get a little more open minded because you're going to be wrong. You're going to be wrong. You're going to strike out. You're going to hit a long fly ball to the wall and somebody catch it. And, you know, you just have to. We need more of that in community notes. I'm sorry, like it doesn't solve it because then you just have people. The Republican, the thought is it's like so independent minded. Like I'm an independent, and it's all about independent thought, not groupthink, independent. And so you get these independent, and then you're like all these independent opinions coming in on community notes, and then you've got so many independent opinions, but most of them are the same. Oh, great, reconnection successful. Okay, great. And when that group is okay, what was I saying? Because it disconnected for a second and I lost it. You know, and so I have so I have like a top 10 I follow, and then another 30 that I semi follow, like all the way up to 30, and then 100 that is like in my realm. And so those are the people I trust. And when they retweet something, it then expands what I see, and I can like utilize what they're seeing for what I also see. So you end up having people that you trust, that you utilize within your timeline as an independent to then grow kind of what your message is or what news you're sharing and so on and so forth. So that is, that is the direction that I think is helpful to people. And I think the bigger point that I was making about this is, you really have to be open to seeing other angles and other sides of things, and get out of your own box. Think outside the box. That's the biggest if there was one thing that like the biggest lesson I could give, it would be it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to think outside the box. It's okay to see other opinions that you haven't seen, and it's okay to be wrong. Okay? All of those things are extremely important. I'm going to go back and watch this cuz I just made this on the fly and that wasn't a bad list. But um a lot of people don't stay open to that. So try to follow people on Twitter that you disagree with. Okay? Because if you're just following everybody you agree with, that's easy. That's going to the gym and just eating ice cream. Like that's boring. Like if you want to do that, fine. Like have a ball, but that's boring to me. Like I'm like into working out hard with my brain. So don't follow me if you can't handle things you don't like because that's what I'm that's what I'm all about. So like it just doesn't phase me, you know? Now I think that some things can be a better use of time than others. Like when they interview RFK Jr. on CNN, it's kind of like he talks so much bullshit that it's probably way down the list of time. And I know that some people that are anti-vax are going to be like screaming into their phones right now, or wherever you're watching. But like, it's time management. I'll hear his opinion. Sure, I'll hear his opinions every day of the week. Doesn't mean I agree with him, but I could be wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong. But he could be wrong too. Like I'll hear the opinion, but you know, with time management, there's healthier people that they could be interviewing than him. He's a rabid anti-vaxxer. There's just a long list of things that I've posted that you've seen about him that are not good. But anyway, back to the point. Um, those would be my big lessons for today. I'm going to jump off this because I don't want to get cut off again. And it's been 20 minutes. I went a little longer today. We did 10 last week. I think we did a half hour the week before. So we're going to keep doing these, keep varying these. And thank you all for tuning in. I got to see what the sound and visuals look like in this. I will be back soon-ish for another one as we continue to grow this. This is Jeff Pilkington, and here at Launch Radio, we are the future, and the future is Launch Radio. Thank you all, and have a wonderful evening. Later.